that many column names we will give, and for each and every column name we will define a data type.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is the syntax.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good evening, all. So
so
myself, I'm Vijay. I
that
hold
is
20
what I
plus
wrote
years
here.
of
Employees, the
experience,
same
which includes
example. I'm creating employees table
experience
here.
different
Create table
technologies like
employees. Within the parenthesis, I
big data,
used column
Hadoop,
names here.
Spark,
Employee ID,
Python,
employee
and
name,
this Azure data
salary, date of
engineering,
joining.
right? So
4
before I
columns I
start,
gave,
can
and
anyone
for
please
each and every
confirm whether
column
my
I
voice
define
is
the
clear,
data
whether
type.
the screen is
Data type
visible
in
or
the
not?
sense it's nothing but
Yes.
Fine.
by
So
using data type
Yes.
only, we will decide, or SQL will
as part of
understand
today's demo, I'll
what
be covering
type
the
of
following
value we
things.
can
If you've
store
got any
inside
queries,
that
general
particular
queries, I'll
column.
be giving
Okay,
time for
suppose
you
for
at the end of the
example in
session.
Excel,
So
suppose
why
in a date of joining column, if I'm
data
writing
engineering?
randomly any data, it is just accepting. It is not throwing me any error, right?
Why
But
data
basically we
engineering?
know date of joining in the sense only we need to
Previously,
enter
right, we
dates
doesn't
data
have this
only
role.
inside it. If it
Now
is
today, if you
salary, I
see
need to
data
enter only
engineer has got
numbers, right?
great demand
But
today.
in Excel file
Why data
randomly if
engineer?
I'm entering
Previously, we
any
used to say
data,
like
it is
ETL developer.
accepting. So but this is a big drawback
Second,
of the
role.
Excel, right?
What is the role
Whenever
of
we are dealing with big data, we
data
should
engineer?
have we want some systems where if we enter some wrong data,
And most
it
of them
should
ask
alert
the
us, it
difference
should send
between
us error stating
this
you
data
entered
engineer
some
with
wrong
data
data kind
analyst
of
and
thing,
data scientist.
right? For that reasons only databases only, that is not only the one reason. uh, though we can store data in the form of excels,
Data
right?
engineer,
We have excel file, text file, pdf, we
data
have many file
scientist,
formats, we can store the data over there. But still,
data
for each and
analyst.
for those file formats, if I'm talking about excel, we have so many limitations when we use excel. So
Data
because of that problems only databases came into existence. Out of all the problems or
engineering
limitations
products
which we have in excel, this is one of the
or
limitation, that is
services. I'm
if
just
we
going
enter
to give
any wrong
overview
data
about
also,
this
it is
data
accepting,
engineering
right?
products or
So to
services
get rid of
that
that
are
problem
used
in databases,
and job
data types
market.
will help us.
The current
Okay,
job
data
market
type
of Azure data
according to the
engineer.
column. Basically, whenever we are entering any data inside a table, we know what kind of data is that, right? So
Okay.
accordingly, whenever we are defining table only, for that column we will define the data type,
First, cloud.
so that if we enter any other data, it won't accept, it will throw us error. Okay, that is about data type.
Cloud is
And we
majorly
have mainly
utilized.
three types of data types. One is numerical data type,
It is
that is
utilized
where
for
we will store all the numbers.
storing,
Next,
analyzing, and
character or string
delivering
data
data
type, where
in
we will store
various
characters.
form.
Date
Cloud is
time
used
data
for
type, where we
storing,
will store dates. Okay,
analyzing,
numerical character data type again divided into two
and
types, that
delivering
is int and float. Int in the sense only numbers we can store, float in the sense along with
data
the
in
numbers
various form.
decimal values also we can store. Okay, so that is what I wrote. And
Okay,
next,
so if we
character
talk
or a
about this
string data type.
on-premises
Here I
compared
can
with
store character data.
cloud, right?
Basically we have two
On-premises
types of
compared
character
with
data.
cloud.
Okay, that
Just
is
observe.
char and varchar. Okay,
If I
these
talk
two
about this
are two
on-premises
you know
databases and this
data
cloud,
types for character. Whenever we wanted to store any alphabets, characters, words like that, we will use these two data types. Okay, so
first
whenever we
thing
are
is we need to
defining
set up.
any character data, we will define size also. Okay, I'll show you in a while. Next, date time data type, that is we will store dates in it. And we have again, it is
Our
divided
own
into two
hardware
types. One is
infrastructure.
date data type and the second one is date time data type. Okay,
So why you
if
are
you want to
moving
store
towards
only
cloud?
dates, we will use this date data
Azure.
type. Along with the date, if you
Again,
want to
on
store
top of
time
that,
also, then we will use date time as a data type. And this is the format which we
OS
need to use.
installation to be
First
done.
year, then month, then date. Here, year, month, date, hour, minute, second.
Purchasing
Okay. I'm just trying to
database
explain you
license.
whatever
Purchasing
we
database license.
understood yesterday, uh, in a quick way. Can Is it
Installation of
okay? Can
database
you able
server.
to understand me, Mahesh?
Later, like designing database
Just
objects.
trying to revise all the concepts. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
So to
It is
maintain
bit
all this,
confusing. Yes, I understand. No problem. Okay, because we will going forward. We will create many tables. We'll see what is data types. We will do
we
all these
require
things
separate teams.
slowly going forward. Also, no problem. Okay, just to
We
make you
require
understand
separate
a
teams.
little bit, I'm explaining here. But no worries.
Yes,
We will
Sadhguru
again
was asking.
write and we will again see
To
all these
maintain all
things
this, we require
practically. If you
separate teams.
listen two
Like
to three
hardware
classes, you
team
will
is
get so much
required.
of clarity. Okay. Perfect. So now we created the data table here.
Secondly,
Okay.
operating
So for
system team.
employee ID, we know that for employee ID, we will enter only numbers, right? That is the reason. After writing, this is a
Networking
syntax:
team.
create table, table name. After writing table name, I used column name as employee ID,
So everything to be
and I gave
interconnected,
the
right?
data type as int here. Next,
So
employee name.
networking. Next,
Char,
security team.
for employee name, as I said, we will use char or varchar, right? And I said one more point, that whenever we are entering character data, we will define
And
size
finally,
also,
like
right?
database
So that
administrator.
is what, after char we need to use brackets like this, and within that parenthesis we need to enter some size. That means I'm allocating, if I used 10 here,
But
that
here
means I'm
everything in the
allocating
cloud
10
premises. Here,
bytes
but
of
everything
memory
in the
for this
cloud
employee name.
premises.
That is, I can
You no
enter
need
up
to
to
maintain any
only
infrastructure
10
here.
letter word in this column. Okay, if I enter any 11 letter word, then it will throw me error, because I only reserved the size as 10 for this employee
Everything
name
in the
column, so
cloud
that up to
premises.
10 letters only, up to 10 characters only I can enter in this particular column. Likewise, whenever we are defining any character data, we will define the
No
size.
need to maintain all
Whatever
this.
size we will define, up to that characters only we can enter in that particular column. Okay, so next, salary
No
is
need
one
to
more
maintain
uh,
any
column
infrastructure.
for which I give float, because inside of, if I define the data type
No
as
need of
float,
any
I can enter
licenses.
numbers as well as decimals. Next, date of joining is one column where I define the data type as date. Like this, we created one table,
Here,
I selected everything and we
everything
executed. After that, the table will be created.
in cloud
I'm not
environment,
executing
right?
this because we already did that. So employees is the
Yes.
table name. After executing, we can able to see like this. Okay, and in MySQL, if I'm just selecting here, this is the database name. In every database, if we expand
Data
like this,
engineers.
we can see four sections: tables, views, stored procedure, functions. For now we are discussing about tables. So if I'm
With the
expanding this
help
again,
of
I can see the how
cloud.
many tables I created. I can see the list here.
So data
Now
engineers with
I
the
we
help of
created
cloud
only one
services,
table,
they
that is
work on
employees,
data and
so I
make the
can see
data
the employees
structured and
table
useful,
here.
right?
If I'm selecting this at the bottom, it will show me the information
So
also
they work on
here,
data
like what are the column names in that table and what is the data types we define,
and make it
right?
structured
So after creating the table, now you can see in Excel file here, this is one table,
and
right?
useful.
So what we did, I gave some
So
column
the main
names here and I
responsibility of
entered some data.
data
Right?
engineers,
Whenever we are using create syntax, basically we will only
they are
define
responsible
the
in smooth
structure.
data flow,
Okay,
data
that is
flow from source to
by using
destination.
this syntax. What we did, I just gave the name for the table and I created columns only.
Smooth
Now
data
I
flow
need to insert the data. To enter the data, we will use
from the
insert
source
command
to
here. Use it to insert the
destination.
data inside table. So insert syntax is insert into table name. Values we need to write, and after
What
that
data
we need to
engineer
enter the
does?
values
What
like
data
this.
engineer
Within the
data
parenthesis, that is
engineer, right?
within the brackets, we
So
need to write the values of this column names. Whatever sequence we
preparing
define
data,
the column names, that sequence only we need to use. Employee ID,
cleansing
I
data,
gave it as 1. Employee name, I just gave it as Raj. Salary
transforming
and
data,
date of joining. Okay, so this will be my first row of data. Okay, I need to write like this. For
processing
after
data.
writing each and every value, I'll keep a comma, and for character
Yes.
data and date data type
So, okay,
data, we
data
will use
engineer
single
performs
quotes.
all this preparing,
Numbers we will
cleansing,
write directly
transforming,
only.
and processing.
Okay, once I
Talk
close
about
this bracket, that
how
means
it
SQL will
different from
understand
this
that
data
this is
analyst and
one
data
row of
scientist.
data, first row of
If I
data.
talk
Okay,
about this data
then
scientist,
I'm keeping a comma here, and we need to enter second row of data. Like that,
so
how many rows
data
we wanted to
scientist
enter,
and
that many
parallel data
you
analyst
know
and data
that much of
engineer.
data we will write here and we will execute this.
Just
After
in
executing,
a
we can
simple way,
able to see
data scientist,
the,
simple
suppose,
way, data
let me
scientist
just for showing you, I'm just changing the table names
strategizes
because the table names should be unique here.
for
Let
the
me
future.
write it as create table employees one.
So it's going to
So I'm
perform some kind
selecting,
of
I'm executing.
predictions, some kind of analysis for the
You can
future.
see it
How
got executed
and the data
successfully. And
analyst
after creating any table, just to
summarizes
get that to view
the
that table
past
name here, first we need to refresh
and is
this.
going to
Beside
visualize it.
schemas we have refresh
So
option.
data
I'm
scientist
refreshing,
strategizes
you
for
can
the
see I
future,
got
some kind of
employees one
predictions,
as a table.
analysis.
Okay,
Is going
if
to
I'm
analyze the
selecting that,
data,
now this is just now I created, and it is showing me the
analyze the
information
process
below.
results, analyze
Now
the
I
data,
created the table, I need to insert
identify
the
the
data.
patterns,
So for that, this is the syntax which we need to remember: insert into employee table name, that is employees one, values, and I'm giving some data here.
and is
Okay,
going to perform
let me select,
recommendations for
let
the
me
future.
execute. It got
Analyze
executed
the data,
successfully.
identify the
Now
patterns,
what I did, I
recommendations.
created the table, I inserted the data. To display the data, we will use
for the
select command.
future.
And the syntax is select star from table
Data
name.
analyst
Star in the sense we will
summarizes the
technically
past.
call it as
He
asterisk.
also
Whenever
analyzes the
we are
data.
using star, that means I want to display the complete data. Okay, that is what I wrote. Select star from, let me write it as employees 1.
Analyze the data.
So I'll select this. I will execute. This is the execute button. Okay. After executing, you can see the output, whatever we created just now, we got it as a table form, right? Employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining, 3 rows of data we inserted,
Summarizes the
right?
data.
This is our output actually. So by using command, we will create the table,
Visualizing the
right?
data.
By using insert command, we will insert the data. By using select command, we will display the data. Okay. Here I said if we use
So
star
here,
like this,
data scientist
it
for
will
the
display the
future and
complete
data
data.
analyst is going to
Instead
summarize
of
for the
complete
past.
data, if we want
So
to
here,
display any
data
particular
engineering
data,
involves
we will write that particular column
these
name.
other
For example, if I
things: data
wanted to
analyst,
see
data
employee name
engineer,
and
and data
salary columns
scientist.
here, I can write it as
Data
select employee
engineering.
name comma salary from employees.
So if I
Select,
talk
execute. You can see this is employee name column, this is salary column.
data engineer
Okay, like this. So
does
this is a basic
all the
understanding
groundwork.
which we
He does all the
finished
groundwork
previously. Okay. No worries. If you have any
for
doubts also
data
going forward,
scientist
everything will be clear.
and
Okay.
analyst.
So now let me open another file
We
and let's
speak
just continue
nearly
with the
80%,
remaining concepts.
otherwise more than 80% of data analysis
So far what did we understood? We saw how to create the table, how
is
to
done by
insert the
data
data, and we
engineers.
understood about the data types, right?
Means
Next
extracting,
concept is
transforming as per that required, and
SQL
processing.
sublanguages.
So here data engineering. So involves, right, what are the sources of the data? From where we need to bring the data from? What are the sources of the data? From OLTP systems, that is from databases, or
Let
from
me show you one
NoSQL
picture.
databases, or for streaming kinds of. And what is the format? Format of the data, right?
So uh,
How to
basically we
transform
have
data.
something called as commands in SQL. Okay, all our SQL commands are divided
And
into
finally,
five
what is the
types.
destination
We
of
will
the
call
data?
them as sub languages in SQL. Okay, so as you can see here we have five types
Yes.
of sub languages. One is DDL, DML, DCL,
So data
TCL,
engineering involves,
and
right, from where
DQL.
the what from
Okay,
where we need to pull the
so
data, from where we need to get the data from,
and
what is the format, and how to
if you
transform it,
observe
and
in
what is the
each and
destination of
every
the data.
language here we have some
So now
commands,
talking about
right?
why Azure data
So we
engineering
need
in
to
demand
discuss
today.
all the commands now.
Why
That is
Azure data
about the
engineer?
SQL sublanguages concept. So let me write now. We have SQL sublanguages as I said, and it is divided into five
Why
types.
Azure data engineer
So first one
in
is
demand?
TDL, that is
Just
data
observe this.
definition language. Okay, and the commands comes under DDL are create, alter. Let me write at the bottom.
Organization. Okay. Organization
Create,
wants to increase
alter,
the business revenue by
truncate,
utilizing the customer
drop,
behavioral data from its
rename.
website.
Okay, this five
So the
commands we
organization
have which
uses
comes
Azure for
under
its
DDL. What is
operations.
DDL? What is this
So it
five
is going
commands?
to
We will
hire
see
two
detailing.
people.
Okay.
This organization first
Next,
going
it
to
is DML.
hire two people.
DML in the sense data
Azure data engineer.
manipulation language. Commands comes under DML are insert,
Secondly, data scientist.
update, and delete.
Yes,
Next,
the organization using Azure for its operations. So
DCL,
first, it is
data
hiring two people, right?
control language.
Azure
Okay, this
data
is one
engineers
more
and also data.
language that
First,
is
the work
DCL,
of Azure
data
data
control
engineer
language. Commands
is
are
going to create, is
grant
going to
and
create a
revoke.
data warehouse.
Okay, next
He
TCL.
creates a data warehouse for the organization. A data warehouse
Transaction control
A data
language.
warehouse is the storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources such as just new users, user logs, clicks, existing customers' data. So data engineers going to structure this data, store it, and monitors it in the data warehouse.
Commit,
Data
save
engineers,
point,
they are
and
going to
rollback are
communicate
the
with the
three
data
commands
scientist
comes under TCL.
to
Okay.
understand the data
Next,
requirement and
DQL,
also communicates with the business team to know
that
the
is
business
data
requirements of the
query
organization.
language.
And
And the
also he has to
command
keep
comes
in
under
mind in the
DQL is
business the
select
business
command,
needs
only
when
one
dealing with the
command.
data in mind.
Okay.
That
So
is in need.
basically, these are 5 types of
So
sub
yes,
languages. All
dealing
the
with the data in the hand, right? So he has to
commands in the
communicate with
SQL
the data
divides into
scientists
these
and the
5 types.
business
Okay.
teams, and they need to
So
provide the
first, let's
data as per the
understand about
required
DDL, that is data
format.
definition language.
So main
Let me
thing is
just
to
copy
create a
this.
data warehouse and making the data structured and storing in this in the storage system.
Guys, if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. Okay. If you don't understand anything, I hope I'm clear, right? Up to
So the
here,
later
whatever
the
I said.
data scientists, they are going to analyze and they are going to create insights from the processed data. And also the business team requires some dashboard tools for visualizing the data, right? So data engineers keeps on constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. They are going to create pipelines. This data engineers creates data pipelines through which data is integrated through all the crucial stages of the data flow, right? And also they make sure that the pipeline is always efficient and secure without any data leaks. So this is the
Oh, I'm so
primary role
sorry.
of a Azure data
Sorry.
engineer, right?
I
So
muted. I
we can
just
see,
didn't
I'll
check.
discuss what are the roles of Azure data engineer.
So I'm saying data definition language. Okay. So that is uh, all the commands comes under DDL
Role of
are
Azure data engineer.
this all 5 commands deals with the structure of the data. Okay. All the commands which comes under DDL basically
First one, like designing entire data flow architecture, designing
sorry
entire data
guys,
flow
actually I'm
architecture.
suffering from cold and cough
Secondly,
from last day. Okay. So
creating a data warehouse,
I'm seeing DDL. All the commands comes under DDL deals with
creating data warehouse for storage of analytical
structure of
data.
the table. Okay, let's see that.
So third one, the
First
main role,
command is create,
ETL.
which we already
ETL,
discussed,
right?
right? What we
One
discussed,
of the
create
key tasks
command
of
is used
data
to
engineers, they need to
create
extract
any
data
table,
from
right?
multiple sources, transform it into
Not
structured
only
form,
table, actually
and
to
then
tell
load it
you
into
the
the
exact definition, I can say
company's storage
create command is
service
used to
for
create
further
any
business evaluations by the
database
data
object.
scientists. So the
What are all
ETL
the
is the
database
key
objects we
task
have
of
in the
data
sense?
engineers.
Database
Later,
objects
not
in the
only this
sense
ETL, data
tables,
monitoring,
views,
data
stored
monitoring.
procedures, like this. Whatever we have,
So data engineers make sure that the
this
ETL is
all
performed
called as
in a proper
database
way, in a
objects,
proper
which we will
perfect way,
cover.
right? And data is
All these concepts
available
also we will
everywhere
cover
it's
in our
required, right?
course. First, we
So
are dealing with
monitoring,
tables.
data
After that, we
monitoring,
will see
and also
views.
like
After
data
that, we will see
security,
stored procedures. At that time, we will discuss detailedly about these things. What is views and what are
data
stored
security,
procedures. But basically, this all are called as database objects.
ensuring
Okay.
data security. It
So
also
to
major
create all
responsibility
these
of data
things, we will
engineers.
use create
They
command
need to
only.
secure at each
Like
step of the
just now we
process
saw how
without
we are,
any data leaks
creating the
or data
tables, right?
exposures, and
This
also
one.
like collaboration and communication.
Okay, let me do one thing. As we have one more new student, let me create users create syntax once
Just
again
before,
with
as I said,
different table.
they
Okay,
have to constantly
suppose let's
communicate with the
create any
business team to
students
check
table
if
now.
that team
So
needs
how
the
the
data
user create
insights,
syntax, as I said,
collaborating with data
create
scientists
table,
to deliver the data
table
as
name
per
I
their
need to
needs or
write. Suppose if
requirement.
student is my table name. Okay. After writing table name, within the parenthesis, I need to mention column names. For example, for student ID is my column. I'll write
Analytics.
the column name here.
Data
And I
engineers analyze
wanted
the data
for
and
every
transform it
column
into
name,
structured, useful
whenever we are
format. They need
creating
to
the
have this
table, we need
strong
to define
analytical and
columns.
mathematical
For every
skills to
column
perform
name,
this
basically, we
analysis.
need to define the data
And
types here.
also, certain
So
things has to
SID is
be
my column. For this
automated,
column,
automation. Like they have to automate certain process which require minimal human interventions,
data time,
such
data
as
type. Okay, I'll show
extraction.
you.
So the main role,
So
like
for
designing
SID
the
column,
entire data flow
let me give it
architecture,
as
creation of data
integer data,
warehouse
integer data
for
type.
storing of
Okay.
analytical
Now
data,
maybe
ETL, the key
student
task,
name is one more
extracting
column.
data from
In that
different
I'm using
sources,
varchar
transforming it into
of
structured format,
10.
loading into
So what
company's
is char
storage
and what
system
is varchar
for
in the sense,
further
as I said yesterday,
evaluations,
in
and
char,
data monitoring.
basically suppose if I
See that
define
the
the
ETL
size
is
as 10.
performed in a proper way,
Okay.
and see that whether data is available in all the
If I
stages.
define
Data
size as 10,
security,
that means
see
I'm
that
saying
there is
whenever
no
we are storing
data
character
leaks
data,
or
we will
data
define the
exposures.
size. If we define
Collaboration,
the size as
communicating
10,
with this
we
business
can
team and the
allow,
data
we can
scientist
enter
to for
up to
delivering the
only
data
10
as per
letter
the right,
word in it, like
and
10
analytics
characters
and
only we
automation.
can
Some
enter,
things need to
right?
be
But suppose
automated,
if
like
I'm using char, for
extraction
char
process.
data
So
type,
these are the
if I
roles of
gave
Azure
size
data
as
engineer.
10, and in that if I entered any 3 letter word, okay.
So just I'll give overview about this Azure data engineering products or services. I'm not talking about the Azure products, Azure data engineering products or services. Azure data engineering products,
So if I enter any 3 letter word,
services.
that means in this 10
First
as
one,
size,
Azure
I
SQL.
used only 3 letters. That is 3 bytes of memory. 10
Like
is
Azure
size in the
SQL, we have
sense,
got Azure
basically at the
Data
back
Lake,
end, what it is happening. SQL is reserving
Azure
10
Synapse
bytes of memory
Analytics,
for this particular column. Okay. In that 10 bytes of memory, I used only
Azure
3
Synapse
bytes of memory by
Analytics,
entering Raj as my name. In 1 byte,
Azure
R will,
Data Factory,
1 byte, R will take 1 byte. A will take 1 byte, J will take
that
1 byte. Only
that
three
what we
bytes
say
are
like
used.
ADF,
Again, I'm left over with seven
Azure
bytes, right? This
Databricks,
7 bytes of memory, if I'm using char as a data type, this 7 bytes of
ADB,
memory, what SQL will do, it will just it will use the 7 bytes of memory by blank spaces.
Azure Cosmos
That
DB,
is, it will just write like this: RAJ. 3 letters are done, right? Again, 7 letters,
Azure
it will take
Streaming,
spaces like this. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Azure
6,
Key
7.
Vault,
Like this. All this 10, whatever size I defined, all that
so as a
particular
ADF
size will be
developer
used if
or a
I'm using
Databricks
char.
developer, as
But
Azure
here
data engineer,
actually
you are
I'm
going to
entering only 3 letter
interact with
word
all
only.
these
No need of
products
this 7 letters. 7 bytes is actually
or the
not needed,
services
right?
like Azure
But
SQL,
in
Data Lake,
irrespective
Data
of
Factory,
whatever
this
data we
Cosmos
enter,
DB streaming,
whatever
right?
size we
So
define, that
first one, Azure
complete
SQL.
size
Just I'll give
char
a
will
overview
use.
as of now. Later we discuss
So
in
that
brief
is the
about these things
drawback
in our
here. By if we use
course.
char, uh, our memory will get wasted. Correct? If it
First
is
one, Azure
varchar, what
SQL.
it will happen? I will take the
Azure
same
SQL.
example. For varchar also, I define the size as 10. Okay. I entered name
Simply,
as
it is a
Raj.
cloud
Here
RDBMS. I
also,
can say it's a
obviously, 7
cloud
bytes of memory will be
RDBMS
left over, right? In 10,
of
I used
Microsoft.
only 3 letters. So 7 bytes of memory is left over.
Yes,
So
in
here in
Azure.
varchar, that leftover
It is a
bytes,
cloud RDBMS of Microsoft in Azure. Generally, it is used for
leftover
OLTP operations,
bytes
online
of memory
transactional processing. It is for OLTP operations. It is not for data warehouse, it is for OLTP. It's
will
going to
be given
capture the
back to
end
the
user's
database.
transactions.
Okay. So
Azure Data Lake.
whatever leftover bytes are there, that will be given back to the database. Here memory won't be wasted. Whatever,
Azure Data
how
Lake.
much data enter, that much memory only varchar will use, right? But if I use char, uh, how much
I can say
size
like
I
a
entered, that
distributed
complete size will be used.
file
Whether
system
entered only 3 letter word, 2 letter word, 5 letter
with
word,
unlimited data
how
storage.
many letters I enter also,
With
whatever size
unlimited
I define, that many
data
bytes of
storage.
memory will be used. The complete memory will be used for char.
In
But for
cloud.
varchar, how much size I defined also,
That is data lake.
how many letters I entered, that much
The kind of
memory
file
only it will
system with
use.
unlimited
Remaining
data
memory will
storage,
be,
right?
it will
If
again
you
give
have
back to
knowledge
the
on this
database.
big data, like
So I
people
can
from
say
big
here
data,
memory won't be
if you have got
wasted,
knowledge on
right?
this Hadoop HDFS, it's a
Am I
like a
clear?
Hadoop distributed file system, HDFS, right? That is on premises. Yes, ma'am. On
Perfect.
premises,
So
right?
this one actually we discussed yesterday also. So
Distributed
that
file
is about
system.
char
But if
and
I talk
varchar.
about this Azure Data Lake,
So let me write this at the
cloud,
bottom.
cloud DFS.
So SID, S name, varchar of 10, right?
I can say it is a
So
repository of large varieties,
here, let me use any another column. Suppose
structured,
student ID, student name. What can be the
semi-structured,
another columns for student details? Date
and
type, data type you
unstructured
want,
data.
right? So for what date, student,
You can say it's a kind of file system
student age can be one column,
that distributed,
and
right? Distributed file system with unlimited data storage, so in the cloud. That is what Azure Data
maybe I'll
Factory.
using maybe I'll use as join date or graduation year. Let's use it
Azure
as
Data Factory.
it is student actually, not graduation year also. Anyways, okay, just to make you understand sample data I'm writing. Okay, so academic
Simple, in
year
a
I will
simple
write.
way, I can say it's a cloud ETL. It's a cloud ETL or cloud-based
Academic
ETL.
year is one column. For that I'm using date type, data type as someone asked. Okay, so
It's
maybe
a
these
cloud
three
ETL or
columns are
cloud-based
enough.
ETL of Microsoft.
Accordingly, according to the date column we are using, we will define the data type. For SID, I know I'm
In
going to
Azure.
enter numbers only, so I gave int. S name will be character, so I give varchar, and I define size as
It
10
acts
only.
as a
Next I
between
used
this OLTP
academic year,
systems and this
and I am
warehouse
using
systems. It
date
acts as an
time as a
integration
data type.
service. So it's
Instead
we
of
call
academic
ADF.
year, maybe we will see.
It's an integration service.
Let me just write it
Integration
as
service
joining
between this
time,
OLTP
like
database
that.
system
Okay,
databases and this warehouse systems. So the process raw data coming from one side,
so
processing
now
data coming from other
I
side,
need
they are
to
going to
create the
transform as
table.
per
I'm
the
selected
destination.
this.
It's combining the data from multiple sources, reforming it,
It got
reformatting
created.
it
To
into
just
analytical models,
get that
saving it
student
for querying,
table here to
visualizing, right?
reflect this, whatever
Yes.
table we
So
created,
it
to
is going to
reflect
take
that
the
new
data.
table
It's going
here.
to take
I need to
performing
refresh
ETL, right?
this.
It's a
Now I
cloud-based
got
ETL.
student
It's
table,
going to extract data from different data
right?
sources, from
Now I need to
sensors, from
insert the
IoT,
data.
from logs, from media files,
Insert
from
into,
business
you can see
applications,
we
from
got
customer
student table. If I'm
applications. So
selecting
that
the student
ADF
table,
extracts
we
and
can even
stores in
see the
Azure Data
information
Lake,
here.
where
Here information
unlimited data
section, we can
storage
see
can be,
the
and later we
column
can
names and
transform
data
it.
types which we already given. Right now we need to insert the data, so I'm using insert into. Actually, we are not talking about
Azure
insert here.
Database,
We are talking about DDL commands. That is only create
Azure
command. Next is
Database.
alter. So do you want me to continue with this, or do you want me to insert data and show you the results?
You can say it is a fast,
Continue with the DCL.
otherwise it is a
DDL, right? Yeah,
Apache
this
Spark,
like this we will,
Apache
no problem.
Spark
Like this
based
we will basically create the tables. Okay,
data
accordingly,
analytics
whatever data type we want, that data type we can use. Okay,
platform.
this is how we will
It is
create the table
Apache Spark
in
based
DDL.
data analytics platform
This is create is done. Okay, create is
for
one
Microsoft
command
Azure.
which comes under DDL. Whenever we wanted to create tables, we will use syntax like this and we will create. Okay,
So this
insert
Apache
command comes
Spark,
under
so as
DML.
part of
At
this,
that
I'm
time
going to
I'll show
discuss that
for the
Spark
same
also,
table we
right,
will insert the
with
data and
Python
we can see. Okay,
implementation.
now next command
So
is
it's a
alter.
very high speed processing, very high speed processing engine, right? Right. So it's a Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Later
Alter
I'll be
here, for
discussing brief
alter we are
about it.
having so many use
So the
cases.
total
Let's see one
execution
by one.
happens
Okay,
within
the
this
first
Apache
use case
Spark.
of alter is,
So it brings
alter is
together
used
that the
to
data engineering and
add
data science and the
any
business together.
new column in the
Azure
existing
Synapse.
table. Okay, suppose I already created the table. Now I wanted to add one more, what we call one more new column to the existing
I
table.
can say in a
At that
simple way.
time I can use alter command. Okay, so let's see how to write it.
Cloud RDBMS, we have got
The
Azure
syntax
Synapse
will be
DB is
like
available
alter
for
table
Azure RDBMS, the two for data warehouse,
table name.
for analytics,
We need to use keyword called as and. That means if you understood here what I'm doing, suppose I'm having
for batch
employees table,
processing.
I already created the table.
Batch applications
Whenever
are
I
called batch
creating the
processing.
table, I'll give
What do you
some
mean by
column
a
names. Okay,
batch processing
but now
or
I
batch
realized I
applications
wanted to
means
add
online
one more
applications
column,
and
one
batch
more new
applications are
column in
different.
this
Online
employee table.
applications, right?
Then I'll use
User has
alter
to give
command.
the input.
That is what I wrote.
Compulsory in any
Whenever
online
it is used to
applications or
add
online
new
transactions, your
column in
user
the
gives the inputs.
existing
But in
table.
batch
Okay, for
application,
suppose in the employees
user
column,
non-interactive
employees table, I
applications,
want any another new column.
millions
Then
and
I'll use
trillions
alter
of
command, and the
records,
syntax is alter table name.
credit card statements
Add is a keyword
generations.
which we
User
wanted to,
involvement
which
is
we
nowhere
need to
required.
write, and I will write
So
it
here
as
for batch
add
processing and that too for parallel
column
processing.
name, and
Later I discuss in brief about this.
that is new column name. And
Yes.
whenever we are writing column names, we need to define data type as well, right? That is what we will
Azure
do.
streaming.
Add column name and data type. Let's see example. Alter table. Employees is our table, right? For this table, let me add any new column. So maybe bonus as one column. For that bonus, maybe I will use integer as float,
So
because float will
analyzing
accept numbers as well as decimal values also, right?
and
So like
processing.
this, let me select alter table name, add column name, new column name. And for that column, whenever
Analyzing
every
and
time
processing
if we use create command or alter command, whenever we are
high
defining
volumes of
column name, we
streaming the
need to
data,
define data type also, right?
high volumes
I'm
of streaming
selecting
data
and I'm
from
executing.
multiple
It got executed
sources,
successfully. Now let's just
from
see.
multiple sources, that too
Suppose, let me
simultaneously.
refresh. For now, this employees table, I'm having 4 columns only. Let's refresh. Now I got
Okay.
bonus
Analyzing,
also
processing
as
high
an
volumes
extra
of
column, right?
streaming
Because
data
we just
from
added a new
multiple
column
sources
here. Am
simultaneously.
I clear?
And okay, streaming data means
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. This
data
is
which
the
keeps
first
on
use case.
generating, data
We
which
have
keeps on
so
incrementing.
many use cases in alter. Second
Such
use
data we
case
call it
is
as a streaming
alter
data.
is used to remove
Azure Cosmos DB
any
in a simple way. Cosmos DB
existing
means
column.
it is
I
cloud-based.
can write
Simply, I can say it's a cloud-based
alter is used to remove any
NoSQL
column
database.
from the existing table.
NoSQL database, just like MongoDB. We have got many NoSQL databases available, right? Like key value store, Columnar
That is,
store,
I already have
document
one
store,
table. I
graph
already
store,
have
like
one. I have some columns.
HBase,
Then I
Cassandra,
realized I don't want
MongoDB,
any one particular
React,
column. I
Peanut,
want to remove only one
Neo4j,
column. At
Greenplum.
that
In this
time,
way, many
again, I'll use the
NoSQL
alter command
databases.
only. Okay.
NoSQL databases,
So the
schemaless
syntax is
behavior,
alter
SQL databases,
table
right? SQL.
table name. All
From
this
first
syntax
record
is
to last
whenever you are
record, you need to
completely
maintain
new to
that
SQL, whenever you're
schema has to
listening
be
for the
maintained,
first time,
means same
it will
number
be
that
confusing only. But
columns, same
all
number
this
of
syntaxes,
columns
there
has
is
to
no
be
other way
maintained.
we need to
But
remember.
here,
With some
schemaless
practice, you will
behavior.
just get used to
First
it.
record
Okay,
with
no
three
problem.
fields, second record to
Alter
record
table
different
name,
number of fields can be
and
maintained.
as I'm saying,
First record with
remove.
three fields, second
Previously,
record
I
with five
wanted to
fields, third
add a
record
new
with
column.
seven
That
fields.
is the reason I
Record to
used
record.
add
So the
as a
same thing
keyword. Now I
in the
wanted to
cloud we call
remove
it
the
as
column,
Azure
so I'll
Cosmos
use
DB.
drop as a keyword here. Inside alter, I'll use drop keyword. Okay, and I'll say I wanted to drop column, right? So I'll
Azure
write column
keyword.
as a keyword, and I'll use column name. Whatever column name I wanted to remove, that column name we need to write here. This is the syntax. Okay, let's see one
Simply I can say
example.
it's a Azure
Alter
secure key management.
a table.
Secure key management is
Employees is our table
protecting
name.
data in the cloud. Just I
Drop
can say
command.
protecting your
Column
data in the
is a
cloud.
keyword. And now what column name I
So
wanted
here
to
we
drop?
use
Maybe
Azure
same
keyword
bonus
to
column, whatever
encrypt the
we had
keys,
just now.
small secrets like passwords.
Let me write that bonus
So for
column, and we
protecting
can
this
drop
data in
like
the
this.
cloud.
Okay.
So these are the main Azure data engineering products or services. So if you go as an ADF developer, or if you go as a Databricks developer,
So
as a data engineer, you'll be interacting with all this,
yes.
right? So we'll be discussing all this. So one second.
Now let me refresh.
So as
You
part
can
of
see
this
bonus is
course,
gone,
I'll just
right?
show you the course content,
Because
what I'm
we
going to
removed
discuss.
that
So here
particular
Azure
column.
data
Am
engineering
I clear?
involves first the main thing like Azure Data
Perfect.
Factory.
So this is about the second use case of alter command. Now
So
let's
here
see third
ADF.
use case of alter
So
command.
here
By
I can
using
say it is
alter,
zero
even
coding
we can
GTL. No coding is involved here. Anybody,
use
there
it
is no
to
prerequisite
change
especially for this ADF.
data type.
Anybody can update as
Data
ADF
types
developer.
of
Azure Databricks,
existing column. Okay.
ADB.
Suppose
So as Azure
here
data,
what
if
we
you
are
go
doing,
as
I
Azure
already
data
created
engineer,
tables. I'm
and if
already
you got
defined
knowledge on
data
this
types.
Azure
Whenever we are
Databricks
creating table
and all
itself, we
this,
will
right?
define
There
the
are more
data types,
calls for
right?
the people Azure
But
data
here, if we
engineer, right?
want to change
So
the data
you
type
can go as a
for
Azure
all,
data fact
sometimes
ADF
it
developer,
will
you can
happen.
go as
Suppose here,
a
if I
Databricks developer, you
suddenly
can go,
wanted to
right?
change the
But
data type for
calls,
already
if you can
existing
see that
table also,
interview
we can
calls
do
most
that
for
by
this
using
Azure data
alter
engineer,
command.
which
For
involves data
example, here we
factory in
are
Databricks.
having
And if you have got, apart from
employees
that, if you have
table,
got knowledge
in
on
which,
this
for
PySpark,
example, employee name I
so
give care.
Great Boom PySpark has
Now
got
we
Great Boom, like
understood the
even if you go
difference
like
between char
PySpark
and
developer,
varchar. We
so
realized
even
that
PySpark
by
also I'll
using
be
varchar,
discussing
our
as part
memory
of this
won't be
course.
wasted.
Apart from
So
this,
now to change that, I can use the alter command. Or else for date of joining,
Azure
I'm having
Synapse
only date
Analytics.
as a data type. Now I wanted to add time also. At that time, I can change
Azure
date to
Synapse
date time.
Analytics.
Like that,
Plus,
accordingly,
apart from this, giving knowledge on this Azure SQL, you are going to interact with this
we
Azure
can
SQL,
change. Alter table,
Azure Data Lake,
table name.
Azure
Now
Cosmos,
I'm saying I wanted to change the data type, right? I'll use modify as a keyword. Okay, modify. For adding, we used
Azure
add as a
Streaming.
keyword. For removing, we used
So
drop as a
mainly,
keyword. Now I'm using
main
modify
discussions
as
will
a
be on
keyword,
this
right?
data,
What I
Azure Data
wanted to
Factory,
modify,
Azure
I wanted
Databricks,
to modify
PySpark,
column.
Azure
That is the reason I will
Synapse
write column
Analytics.
as
Apart from
also
this,
a
these are
keyword.
going to be
Now
covered.
I'll write
So
in
yes,
this modify column, I'll write whatever column name I wanted to modify.
duration
Suppose for employee name, so I'll write it as okay, this is
around
syntax, right?
three to three and
I'll
a half months
write
it takes.
column name,
3 to 3.5 months it takes, right?
new data type. This is
Timings
the
of this batch.
syntax. Let's see example. Alter table. Employees is my
Okay,
table name, in which I want to modify
okay. Dure, one
column.
second.
That is the reason I'm saying modify column. And what column name I wanted to change? Employee name. And new data type. What previously I had care, now I wanted to give
Okay,
varchar.
so
So
duration is
directly I
three
can give
months.
varchar
So,
of 10. Even size also, suppose
and what are the
I
things?
want
What
to
are the
wear
offerings
a
from my
care
side?
only, but I wanted to increase the size as 20, then also I will use the same syntax. We can even change the size, or else we can even change the data type by using the
Daily session
same
video
thing.
you'll be
Okay,
getting.
now I'm changing from care of 10 to
Each
I'm
and every
changing
session
varchar
is
of
video
10.
record. You'll be getting
Let's
session video,
execute.
soft copy of the
It
neat,
got executed
very
successfully.
clear soft
Let's
copy
refresh
of
and
these
check.
notes.
Here you can see we got varchar, right?
A WhatsApp
That
group
is
for
how
technical
we will
discussions, or if
use
any
all
error,
these
right, you can
commands.
take the snap and
Alter,
keep that
as I
error in that
said, we
WhatsApp
have
GPT,
so
WhatsApp
many
group.
use cases. First use case, I can
Yes.
it is used to add any new column. Okay, for
Assignments and
already
tasks to
creating
work with.
table, if you wanted to add a new column, I can use alter command. Even I can remove the existing column. Second use case is, if I wanted to remove any column also, I'll use alter only. If I wanted to change
And
any data type also, I'll use alter only, right? I hope I'm clear up to here.
interview questions.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Perfect. Next, we have fourth use case also. That
Okay.
is, if we
A daily
wanted
session
to
video, the soft copy of these
rename
notes, this you'll be getting
column
to your
name.
Google Drive. This you'll be getting notes
Suppose
to your
I gave some
mail or
column
your
names here.
WhatsApp.
I wanted to
A
change
WhatsApp group
the
will be
column
added to
name.
the WhatsApp
Then
group.
also we'll
Yes,
use alter command
these
only.
things.
The
And
syntax
if I
is
come to this
alter table name. Here I'm
data
saying I
engineering,
wanted to
as a data
rename
engineering
column
jobs,
name. So I'll write, let me remove this. So I'll write a
we
rename,
talk about this job market. 1 second.
rename as a keyword. Then I will say I wanted to rename the
Job
column,
market.
right? So I'll write rename column. I'll
Today,
write
like
it as
this data
old
engineering, this
column name.
data engineer has
Whatever
got
we
great
give
demand, I
first,
said, right?
that one we will write
Data
actually. Old
engineering, that
column
too
name
with huge
to
packages.
new
People who
column
wants
name,
to change, want
like
to
this.
upskill, right?
Okay.
So data
So
engineering
let's
is
see
one
one
of the best
example.
choice.
Alter
According to
table.
Microsoft,
Table
every
name
year, like
employees.
lakhs of companies are getting
In
registered
employees
into
table,
Azure,
maybe let's
and the
rename
Fortune 500 companies are utilizing
column.
this Azure cloud
Which
services.
column?
In turn, they are increasing the
This
number of
date of
job
joining.
opportunities for this Azure data engineers constantly. So the major companies are beginning to trust and
Date
adopt
of
this
joining
Azure,
column I already have.
organizing
I'm just
shifting to
renaming it
Azure,
to
right? They are already
DOJ
utilizing
like
it,
this
and also
shortcut.
that compared to the
Just to
other
show you,
cloud,
I'm
right?
just
Azure
changing
is
the
cheaper,
column name. Whenever we
and
wanted to
regularly
change
they
any
need
column name, we will use this
professionals who
alter
can work
command
on
like
Azure
this.
and handle
Inside
huge
alter,
data
we
big
need to
data,
use
right?
rename
So as
to
part of
change
this
the
course, I'll be
column name.
providing the knowledge on
Okay.
this Big
Let's
data
do
also,
that.
right? Yes, like PySpark.
See, let's check now. I'm
According to
refreshing
the pay
once again.
scales, right? Even
Now
data
I
big
got
this data
DOJ here,
engineers have got
right?
the highest average salary as
That is
closely
column name
as
got
data
changed.
scientists. The top
That
two
is fourth
highest
use case.
paying jobs, right?
Next,
Data
for five
engineers and
use
data
cases, basically we
scientists.
are having in
Even if you
alter.
see the
Fifth
typical
use
data
case is
scientist
about
need to have the
primary
knowledge.
key.
You will be dependent on
We
this
have
data
one
engineer
concept called as
for
primary
perform
key. We
extracting,
didn't,
transforming, and
we
loading.
didn't started about this
So you need
concept.
to have the knowledge
Going
about these
forward, we
things, right?
have
So pursuing a
integrity
data
constraints,
engineer,
right?
need to have having a career in this data engineer, right? And I'm
Table
saying, right, you
data
are not
using
going to write
rename.
a
And
huge course here,
Santosh,
especially if
are
you
you
talk about
talking about
Azure
if you
Data
want to
Factory.
rename
There
the
is no
table name?
prerequisites at all for this. Just a drag and drop. No prerequisites. Nothing is required. No coding at all. Zero coding ETL it is. Zero coding ETL. Azure Databricks, right? Okay, Azure Databricks with PySpark
That
S3.
is not rename then.
Just
If
you
you
will be
wanted to
writing
change the data, you are asking,
some
right?
notebook codes. You will be writing notebooks. You
Suppose
will be
I already
implementing that
gave some
notebooks,
data.
right?
If I wanted to change the data,
Some basic
for
Python knowledge is required
example,
for these things. Basic Python knowledge is required. Just I'll be giving the Python syntaxes before I go with the practical part. Azure Synapse Analytics, and you are going to interact with the other
select
all the
star from employees.
storage services like Azure SQL, Azure Data
Suppose
Lake,
I'm
Azure
having
Cosmos DB.
some
These are
data
the
here.
Azure storage
Okay,
services
in
where
this,
you are
instead
going
of
to store the data. You
550,000,
are
if I
going
wanted
to
to change
taking
the
the
data,
input and
then
output
what
from
I
this,
need
and
to do,
where
you
you
are
are going to
asking,
store
right?
this services, right? So all these things in brief, in depth, I'll be discussing, right? So even it takes
Yeah,
like
for
three to
that
three
we
and
will
a half
use
months the
update
duration of
command.
this, right?
Okay, we will have,
So
as I said,
yes, even
in
if anybody
DML
wants
commands, we
to
are
go
having update
parallelly,
command.
like
By
if
using
you want
update
to,
command, if we wanted
we
to
cannot
change
spend that much
any
of
data,
time,
we
right?
will
We can go
use
parallelly,
that.
right? Whenever
Okay,
I start Azure
we will
Data
just
Factory,
update
and
the
if
data
any
accordingly.
Databricks, you can join the
Okay, we
Databricks
will see.
parallelly,
Once
or
we are done
PySpark
with all those
or
comments, you
Azure
will
Synapse,
understand
wherever I
everything
start, you
very
can
clearly.
attend parallelly, right?
Now,
You can
uh,
understand those.
the
And
fifth
coming
use
to this
case of
course
alter
content
command
in
is,
deep, in
if we
brief, I'll be
wanted to add
discussing
any
about this
new
course
primary
content.
key,
Check with it.
we will use
Azure
alter
Data
command.
Factory,
Okay, but we
Azure.
didn't
See,
started
first
this
overview
primary
about
key
this Azure
concept. After
services.
once we are
Now
done with
coming to this
SQL
Azure
sub
Data
languages
Factory,
concept, next concept
nearly
is
like a
integrity
50 plus
constraints. In that we have primary key.
exercises pipelines
After
will be creating
understanding
in
what is
this,
primary key, again we will get back to this concept and we
and
will see
even
this fifth use case. Okay.
and don't worry, someone was asking. Clear notes will be
So for
provided.
now,
You
these
can
are
check
the
with
use
this.
cases of alter command. This is how we will use
Area of
alter
notes
command. I
batch
hope
wise,
I'm
right?
clear.
Yes. If you see, check this area of
So
notes. So clearly, is by topic by clear notes
this
will be
is
provided for
about
you from starting
create
to the
is done,
end.
alter is done. Remaining commands we
So
will
daily
discuss in
you'll
the
be getting
tomorrow's
the
class.
notes, right?
Okay.
Clearly, see all this lot of discussions on this. Uh, Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Factory architecture, Data Factory
So today
portal
is our
UI,
last demo, guys.
pipelines,
You will get a new link.
activities,
Please check
data
and
sets,
please
linked
follow that link.
services,
Okay.
triggers,
Whoever
data
get
flows,
register,
pipelines,
the link
how
will
to
be
create a new
changed to
pipeline,
tomorrow,
organizing
definitely.
pipeline, debugging
By
pipeline,
today evening,
publishing
you will get a
pipeline,
new Zoom
parameters
link.
pipeline.
Use that link
Everything
and
will be
connect tomorrow's
practical.
class.
Even you can
We'll
do
continue
parallelly
with the
along with me,
remaining
right?
concepts
So
tomorrow.
there's nothing theoretical. Parallelly,
Okay.
even you can perform that creations of this. You can execute parallelly along with me.
Now,
Now
is
about
it
speed.
possible to change the
What is a
order of
linked
the
service?
columns
Creating linked services
through
for
alter
Or
blob,
command?
for SQL
order of the
database, for
columns,
SQL
like
server, for data lake, right?
no, no.
And
You are saying
data
like
sets.
first
What is data
employee
set? Creating data sets
ID,
for
then
different file
Yes.
DOJ. No,
formats,
no,
for
no. We
Avro
can't
file,
do that.
binary files, Excel files,
Okay.
CSV
Through
files,
SQL
JSON
itself,
files,
is it not
ORC,
possible, or
RPit,
is the
XML,
alter it is not
for
possible?
Azure Data Lake, and
First,
tables in
after
Azure,
creating, if we
SQL
want to
databases,
change the order,
parameterizations,
actually,
activities, different types of
it is not
activities.
possible. How we
Copy
can
data
change the
activity,
order?
copying files from one container to another
Actually,
container,
what is the need of
copying data
changing the
from
order
blob
of
to SQL
columns?
database, Databricks notebook,
No
Azure
need, right?
function,
Wherever it
lookup,
is
No,
having
just,
also no
just
need.
many
asking, it's a
transformations,
use
get
case
the
like
metadata
that.
No,
activity,
no. We
lookup
don't
activity,
even
delete
change the order.
activity,
Wherever
execute
column
pipeline,
is there, also no
validations,
problem. In
filter
one table
activity
only,
for
we
each
will have all
activity,
those
if
things,
condition
right?
activity,
Again, if
switch
you
activity
wanted to
until
display
activity,
the data,
triggers
suppose you can do
for running this
whenever we are
pipelines,
writing.
right? What is
Suppose
trigger,
in
scheduled,
select command,
tumbling
we
window, and
discussed
storage
if we
event, the
wanted to see
differences,
only
when to go
some
for what.
particular columns, we can use column names,
Integrations,
right?
three types, like nearly like for
Yes.
Employee
Azure
name, salary, like that. We
auto
can
integration
display.
runtime,
Suppose if
managed
I wanted
virtual
to see
network,
whatever order you
self-hosted,
wanted to see the column
linked
names, in that
self-hosted,
order you
right?
can display.
When to
But
go for what?
after creating, we cannot
The
just
source control and the global
reorder the columns.
parameters,
We cannot do that.
credentials,
But for displaying
Okay.
purpose, you can
monitoring
use
area
your
of
own order.
jobs, failure
Okay, done.
notifications, data flows.
Wait. Santosh, where are you
Mapping data
posting our
flows, data
recorded
flow
classes and
debug,
notes? Notes
transformations,
we didn't even didn't started to
validate
post,
schema,
Santosh.
schema
Once we are
drift, removing
done with
duplicate
demo
rows,
classes only, you
different
will
type
get
of
an mail
transformations. Like if you
uh,
got in ETL,
for your drive access. Then
if
you
you
can
got
find the
informatica, like
all
the
the
same
recording
thing here,
videos and
everything will
notes.
be
Okay, it
drag
is
and
not
drops.
done. We will
Depending upon what
to, as
transformation
I'm
you
saying,
want, you will
tomorrow the
drag
link
it.
will be changed, right?
Filter
Maybe
transformation,
tomorrow
aggregate
you will
transformation,
get a
giant transformation,
folder
conditional
access.
split,
Okay,
derived column,
till then
exist
you will
transformation, union, lookup,
whatever
sort,
demo
group by
videos are there,
pivot,
or you
unpivot,
can get
flatten,
that videos. But once you
parse,
actually get the folder access,
stringify,
there you
filter,
can see
sort,
all the
alter row,
list of recording
all this.
classes, videos and
And
notes.
apart
Okay,
from this, right, instead I'll be discussing 50 exercises,
perfect.
practical
Tomorrow you will
exercises in
get
this
And
because
area,
you
this is our
audit,
mentioned
last
that,
demo. Uh-huh.
creating copy activities,
Yes.
yeah,
get
yesterday you
metadata
mentioned that
activity,
recording this
copying
access
data,
will
right,
be
event
6 months,
page
right?
prepare
Yes, for
with
6 months
So
activity
if
continue.
we
until
want
activity
to,
data flows, right,
yeah,
nearly
so if we
650.
want to extend those
Coming to this
recordings,
Databricks,
is
before I
it
go with
possible?
Databricks, I'll be
You
providing
can
you the
talk
knowledge on
about
this
it
big data,
with
knowledge on this
admin team.
Hadoop,
Okay.
big knowledge on this Spark.
Okay.
That is, before I go with Azure Databricks, knowledge on this big
All right,
data,
guys.
Hadoop, Spark, and
All right, then let's
Azure.
meet in tomorrow's
And
class. Okay.
coming to this
Just check your
Databricks,
mails. You will get a new link. Please follow that link.
creating
Whoever
Azure
get
Databricks
registered.
service,
We will
Databricks
continue with the
service
remaining
Okay.
using
things.
Azure
All
CLI,
right,
Okay.
guys.
adding
Thank
I'm
you.
ending
users
the
and
session
groups
for
to the
now. Yeah.
workspace,
Thank you. Bye.
creating cluster, how to start working with notebooks, and creating and configuring clusters, managing cluster, displaying cluster, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster logs, types of clusters, all-purpose job cluster, Databricks pools, with pools, without pools, cluster modes, and auto scaling features, multiple users, multi and the credentials, data utility, file system, library utility, notebook utility, widget utility, right? Limitations of utilities, Databricks
All
integration
right.
with the
Let's
Azure
continue
Data Lake, Azure SQL
with the
Database,
yesterday's
Synapse,
class.
Snowflake,
So in
Databricks handling
yesterday's
multiple
class, we
file formats
understood
like
about
CSV,
what
JSON,
is SQL, what is database,
Parquet
right?
files, Excel files,
SQL in the sense
XML
basically
files,
a
ORC
language
files,
which is
Avro
used
files.
to communicate with the database, right?
Databricks batch processing,
Database is nothing
historical
but
data
collection
load,
of data
incremental
where we will
loading,
store
data
all the data
transformations,
together
aggregations, Windows
is
functions,
nothing but a database,
Databricks
right?
streaming
And
API.
to come where if we have
Yes, processing of
basically we will
streaming
store
using
data
PySpark
inside
API,
database,
handling
and
bad records,
whenever we wanted
streaming
to
data
display
into,
some data or
load the
whenever
data
we
into
wanted
tables,
to,
Databricks
we
Lakehouse,
have some
Delta Lake.
requirements with that data,
Differences
we will use
between Data
SQL
Lake and
to
Delta Lake.
communicate with the database,
Introduction
so
to
that
Delta
by
Lake,
using
features of
SQL
Delta
only we
Lake,
will
how to create
convey
Delta Lake,
our
how
requirements to the
DML operations in
database,
Delta
right?
Lake, merging
So
merge
I said
statements,
SQL is
how
case
SCD type 1 and
insensitive.
type 2,
That means
handling data
this is my
deduplications,
SQL
handling
workbench
streaming data in
basically,
Delta Lake,
right?
workflows in
MySQL is one of
Databricks,
the tool within
introduction to
SQL.
workflows,
SQL is a
creating runs,
language.
managing
It is a
Databricks
universal
jobs,
declared
scheduling
language.
Databricks jobs,
Again, to use this language, we
and
have
coming
so
to this
many
Azure
tools in the
Synapse.
market,
Introduction
right? Like
overview of
Oracle
these
SQL,
pools,
MySQL,
dedicated
SQL
SQL
Server.
pools,
Those
serverless
are all
pools,
the
Apache
tools
Spark pools,
from
Data
different
Explorer
different
pools,
companies we have,
and Azure
right?
Storage
So
account integration
MySQL
with
is
Azure
a tool from
Synapse,
Oracle company,
Azure Synapse
and this is an
triggers,
open
Azure
source
SQL
platform. That
database
means it is
integration with
freely
Azure
available for
Synapse,
everyone. That
incremental
is the
load,
reason most of
logging
the
and
companies nowadays are
notifications,
preferring to use MySQL, right?
deep dive into
And that
copy
is the
activity,
main reason,
data flows introduction,
you
right?
know, in our course we are
And data
learning
flows
about
with using
MySQL.
different
I mean, we are using
transformations,
basically
filter, join,
MySQL tool
union,
to
lookup,
learn
window,
SQL,
pivot,
right?
unpivot, SCD types, Spark pool introduction in this Azure Synapse, right? Yes, these things. So everything will be simple and easier to understand if you're regular to the sessions, if you're practicing those, right? All the sessions will be interactive sessions. You will be interacting with
So
me
this is
during the
case
sessions.
insensitive. Here we can use
Yes.
uppercase or lowercase, no problem. Right, next I spoke something about comments. In every programming language we will
So
use
yes, Ravi,
basically
right?
something called
You
as
require a
comments. That
Microsoft
is
subscription. You
whatever
have
we
to
will write
absolutely
inside
cover
comments
that
that are
adequate
non
answer. Yes. So
executable,
yes,
right?
Ravi.
So normally we
See,
will write something here and we will execute.
the
But if
subscription for
I
this, right?
want something to
Azure
be non
subscription.
executable,
Azure is
like
giving
if I
free
wanted to write
subscription.
some
Some
notes,
services you
if
can
I
use
wanted to add some extra
lifetime free.
points
Some services
as
for one
notes,
year they
we
are
will
free.
write
Some
that
services
inside
they are one
comments.
month free.
So we
So in
have
this
two
way,
types of
at
comments:
least
single line
yeah, it is
comments,
giving some free
multi-line
subscription you can
comments,
use, and
right?
also it is
Single
giving
line comments in the sense in one
nearly
single line, if you are writing
16,000
something,
rupees
that is
credits
single
will be
line
added to
comments.
your
And
account
the
whenever
symbols
you
we
create
will
an
use for
Azure account, right?
mentioning
So
single
you can
line
use it
comments are
within one
this one:
month time. You can work on this.
either hash
So
or
I'll just
like two
demonstrate that how to
hyphens,
work with
right?
the free
That is what you
subscription,
can
right?
see. I
And
wrote two
working with the
hyphens before
hands-on
here,
within that, and how to work
each and
within the
every line.
data lake, Azure SQL, the Cosmos, and this Azure Data Factory, Databricks, how to work within this. Everything, yes. If anything, if you get any errors, you can have the option of sharing the screen, right?
Either we can use hash
And
also.
all the
Okay.
sessions will be interactive
Next,
sessions. So
multi-line comments.
yes.
If I'm writing multiple lines as comments, like 2-3 lines or one paragraph,
And one,
then we
okay,
will use this symbols. Hash and star to start the comment, to end the comment, star and hash, like this, right? In any programming language, we will use the same almost, especially this one would be same. Okay. Next, we spoke something about syntax here, right?
let me make it clear
Syntax
about
is
the
in the sense
timings.
the rules. Just a second, guys. Okay. So syntax in the sense, here in
See,
SQL we have all the syntaxes. To do each and every task, we have some syntaxes.
first three to
Okay, we
four
need to
days
follow that syntax only. So after understanding those points, we
starts
started
at 7
creating the
p.m.
database, right? This is a MySQL workbench. Here you
Later,
can see towards the left side, I'm having all the list of my
it starts
available
at 6
databases.
p.m.
By default, whenever
I'm
you
making it
install
clear
your
about the
workbench,
timings, right? So
you will
before you
have
go with
only
the
sys
payments things,
database.
right?
Once you
And
create
it
any other
starts at
databases, you can
6
see
p.m.
the
in the
list
evening,
here
right?
like this, right?
Fine.
So here we created one database yesterday.
Three to first
And to
three,
create
four
the
days,
database
right?
syntax
So
is
tomorrow also
create
people can attend
database
the
database
session
name,
same time at
right?
7 p.m.
So that
using
is
the
what I
same
did.
link.
Create
This is
database. I
more
gave
discussion on
SQL
this,
morning as
right?
my
Tomorrow will be,
database
but
name, right?
yeah,
We
tomorrow the
executed it.
link will
Let me
be
just
changing,
execute
right?
once more very quickly.
Enrolled,
And one more thing
where
you
we'll
can
be
see,
starting with this.
as I said yesterday, this is
Starting with
our
ADF.
output
I
section.
said the
After
prerequisites, those who
executing,
are asking for the
if
prerequisites,
we
right?
can see the output here, right? And
So for
whatever
this
databases we
ADF,
will
there is
create,
no
whatever
prerequisites at
tables
all.
we will create, those will
You
be
can go as
unique
ADF
one.
developer,
That
you
those
can go
should
as
have, I mean,
Databricks
we
developer, you
cannot
can go as
use the
PySpark
same names
developer, right?
again and
You
again.
can go as Azure data
The
engineer
database
if you
names and
got
table
knowledge
names should
about all
unique.
these
Okay, should
things.
be unique. I
So the
already
calls are
selected,
more for this
we
if you're
already created
I got knowledge on
SQL
all
morning
this.
as a
But
database.
initially, if you want to
If
getting
again
into
I
the company,
execute
you
the
can go
same
as
thing, to
ADF
execute what
developer
we will
or
do, we
Azure
will select
Databricks,
this,
or you can go
and here is
as
the execute
a
button,
data
right? I'm just
engineer.
clicking here.
Calls are
You can
more if
see
you
I
got
got
all
error
this
at the
knowledge, right?
output
So it will be
section
very
saying
simple. Like you
can't
won't write
create
like
database
huge
SQL
codings here.
morning.
So you've got
Database
many
exists.
inbuilt functionalities
That means I
available, right?
cannot use same name again,
And
right?
working with the data
It is
frames
showing me it is
API.
already existed.
Any queries
I
from
already
your side,
existed.
anyone?
I mean, that is already existed.
So
I
tomorrow
cannot
also
create
we'll
that
see
one.
more
Correct?
discussion on this.
So let me
Continuation to
just
today's
change a
demo.
name. I'll write it as
So as
SQL
I said,
morning
right,
one,
Azure
just to
Data Engineer
let you know
has got
once again
great
if
demand
any
today. See
students
the
are new
salary
here. Okay.
packages for
I'm
Azure
just
Data
selecting
Engineer, right?
this. We are executing.
In the same way,
It
they'll
got
be expecting
executed
the technical
successfully.
skills from
And
your
once
side.
I execute once we create any
Hmm.
database, next we need to activate the
I
database,
have some
because
queries
here
here, like
we are having so many
AWS
databases. If we
comparatively
don't activate the
with
database, and if
AWS
we normally
Azure.
execute
What are
other
the
statements, like
differences?
if we are
And
creating
if
any
we
table, if we are executing
learn
any
this
other SQL
Azure, we
statement,
can update easily with
SQL will get
AWS.
confused that
So one thing,
which database to
currently, like
use.
if
Okay.
you see in
So
the
for that
market,
purpose, we need to
Azure
activate the
Data Engineer
database
has got
first.
great demand
Okay.
as compared with that AWS, especially for data engineering side, right? Azure Data Engineer has got great demand, and
For
that too, like the
activating the
data
database,
factory
we'll
in
use
the
the
Azure Data
syntax.
Factory and Azure
Use this
Databricks.
one command, use it for activate the
These are the
database.
major
Okay.
components, right?
Syntax is use
Databricks, previously,
database name.
Databricks is not only
So
for
that
Azure,
is
for
what
all
we
the
did.
other
Let me
cloud,
just
as you
change the
said, right?
name to
But
SQL
as
morning
compared to
1.
that,
Here you can see
Azure,
I don't
given
have
by
SQL
Microsoft, and
morning
also
1
it is
because
cheaper as
just now I
compared with the
created
other cloud, and
this
in the even if
database.
it's in the real
Once we
usage,
create any
this
database,
Azure
to
Databricks are
may
mostly preferred.
to visible here, to reflect
Here,
here,
the
we can
totally even
refresh here.
Azure Data
We have
Factory, you are
something
not
called as
writing any
schemas here.
code.
Below
You are
schemas we have
just
all the list of the databases.
drag and drop
We
you're
said we are
performing,
having
and the
refresh button.
transformations. But
Just let
internally,
me
don't
click on
forget
this.
they'll be converted into
Now I got
Databricks
my new
jobs and
database,
executes
right?
internally. Do you no need to write the
Let's
code?
activate the
They
database.
internally converts
Use
into
SQL
Databricks
morning
jobs and
1. I'm
executes.
selecting
And
this and
internally
I'm
they're executed
executing.
by this
You
part.
can see
No need to write
it
all
got
these things, right?
highlighted,
But
right?
as I said,
The
these
color is
components
also
has
changed.
got
It got
as
highlighted.
compared to
That
that, as I
means
said,
now this database is in
AWS.
activation. Whatever queries I will
To the
execute,
industry
all those
taking, you
queries will
can
be
see,
executed under this database only.
you
Okay.
can Google and check,
Without
right? The
activating,
jobs
if
for
I
this,
normally execute
especially
anything,
in data
SQL will
engineering,
throw me
Azure
error
data engineer
because it will
has got a
confuse which
great demand.
database to use. Okay, that is one more
Okay,
point.
and the PySpark is related
I
to
hope I'm
And
clear
Python.
up to here.
and that too, that's why if you see mostly like the batches for
Yes, ma'am.
this, as compared to that,
Perfect.
there is no
Next, we
course like
created database. We
for
activated
AWS
the
with data
database.
engineer,
Now
right?
we need to create
But
the table
no one
because
I
inside
cannot, you won't see
databases,
that. But
we will
Azure data
store the
engineer
data in the
courses,
form
you
of
can see a
tables,
lot of
right?
because of
So
huge
we already
demand, right?
wrote yesterday create table
Yes.
syntax
Yeah,
also.
some
This is
query
the
was asked.
syntax. Create
Yeah, and
table table name
Spark is
for
relevant
all the
as a
table names.
Python
Suppose here
language
what we
only.
did, we used
It is kind
employees
of like
table.
programming programming language
Suppose employees is my
and
table name,
also Azure
employee ID,
SQL, so
name,
query
salary, date of
language.
joining are my columns.
So
Okay.
just
I
like
I
So
missed on the
create
starting of the
syntax will be
session.
like
Can you please
table
tell me
name,
the
create table
prerequisites?
name. Within the
prerequisites,
parentheses,
right,
I need to
for
mention
these things.
column names. How many
For this
columns I
area,
want,
there is no
that many
prerequisites at
column
all.
names I
For
can
this
mention.
Azure Database,
And for each and
PySpark, for
every
these
column,
things,
we
right?
will define a data
Just a
type.
basic
Right?
Python knowledge is
So what is
required.
data type basically? As I said,
Basic Python and basic SQL.
by using data type only,
That's
we
it.
will decide what type of
Okay, so
value
this is
we can
kind of
store in that
a
particular column.
tool
Right?
in which we will work, or
Because,
we
for
will write some
example, we saw
program or
yesterday,
something.
suppose if I am
So
storing
here,
any
in the
data
case
in
of
Excel file,
Azure Databricks,
right?
right, you are
We
going
saw
to
it.
implement some
Suppose
small
employee
codings will be
ID is
written
there.
within this
Let me write
notebooks.
like this. And this is
Okay.
ID and salary
And that
column is
too,
there.
don't worry, people
I know
may
in
get right
employee
in
ID,
PySpark,
suppose
right?
I'm entering
PySpark is
some
giving
data
a
like
lot of
this.
data
In
frame
salary
functionalities.
column,
We'll
I'm
be
entering
using
some
that
data
inbuilt
like this, like
functions, right,
10,000
for
or like
performing the
that. Okay,
tasks. But you need to
20,000.
know which
So in
function to
Excel
be used
file
for what.
also I can store all the data,
Lot of things will be
right?
discussed
But
in the
what is the need
PySpark
of databases
data frame
actually?
functionalities, right? And that too, even a
Because in
PySpark,
Excel
you can
file,
check PySpark, just type
if we
PySpark
store
and
the
check.
data, we have some
It has got a
disadvantages. We have some
great boom in
limitations.
this.
That is the
And
reason
even if
to
you
overcome all
discuss
those
with other
limitations,
training sites of
databases
this
came
and
into
compare to this,
existence.
a lot of
In
the
that,
other
we
they
have some
won't cover this
limitations which we will
PySpark.
discuss going forward.
They say Azure
First
Data Factory,
limitation is that,
Databricks, and Azure Synapse in this thing, right? PySpark
about
is
the
the
data
main
size.
thing
We
is
can
a
store up to
where
1
total
million
execution
rows
happens in
only,
that
1
Spark,
million
right? So
records of
everything
data
will be
only
pretty feasible,
we
right?
can able to store in Excel file.
Okay, and
Right?
Hadoop,
So
you
what about big data
earlier
then?
you said like
If we have
Hadoop,
so
big
much of
data,
data, more than
those are
1
also
million, we
included.
cannot store in the
So
Excel file.
before I go with
So
this,
for
right,
that,
I'll
this is
go into
also one
that
reason
knowledge, what
why
or up to what
databases came
knowledge
into
required. I'll be
existence, because
providing those
we
on that.
can store in databases.
Okay, and the 7 p.m.
We
will
don't
be
have any limit of
flexible if it
size
is a
limit like this,
6:45
right?
or 6:30.
We will discuss each
7
and
p.m.
every limitation of
6
Excel
p.m. is
going forward.
not
For
flexible.
now, let's
I
try
might
to
take in
understand
another
about
batch, or else
one
if
other
possible
limitation.
7
Among all
p.m.
the limitations, we have one other limitation, that is, here suppose ID column is there, salary is there. In salary, as I shown you yesterday in Excel file itself, but now I'm not opening it, just
For that, I
randomly I'm
need to
showing
discuss
here.
and I'll let you know by
Okay,
tomorrow.
so suppose in Excel
Okay,
file
okay.
I'm having salary column
Thank
like
you.
this, I'm
But
having some numbers. Instead of
7
that,
p.m.
suppose I randomly
Yes,
enter
about the
any
timings,
name
I don't
or
know, like how many of
anything
you.
randomly like hi or
No,
any letters,
sorry to
it
interrupt,
will
Vijay
Yeah,
accept,
sir.
7
right?
p.m. is
It
better.
won't
7
throw me
p.m.
an
is
error.
also like
Whatever
fine
we write,
because 6
Excel
o'clock
will
is
accept, right?
uh,
If we
like sometimes
Okay,
knowingly or
okay,
unknowingly
okay.
enter
That's
any
fine. Not a
wrong data
problem,
or
right?
irrelevant
Okay,
data,
I'll
Excel
just
will
talk with
accept.
this
It won't throw
Durga
any error
people,
for
right?
us.
And I'll
But
say, let you
basically,
know. I'll
salary in the
confirm it at
sense,
7 p.m.
we
only.
will have
If you're
only
everyone, if
numbers.
you
If
want
I enter
7 p.m., if
character
it's not
data
there,
also,
right?
it is
Go
accepting.
with 7 p.m.
Correct? So this is one of the
yes,
drawback of
thank you
Excel.
so much.
So to
So
get rid of
I'll
this
make it like
drawback,
7 if
we
everyone
won't,
like,
as we are
okay,
dealing
it's
with big
7
data
p.m.
nowadays, not only nowadays, from years
It's
ago,
not
we
there.
are, as the
Hello,
usage of
uh,
data is increasing, as we are dealing with the
Yeah,
big
got
Rahul
it.
data,
this
we
side.
should have
Yeah.
Actually, I'm
systems,
working
in
and
such
I
robust
won't
that
be able to connect
whenever
it
we
at
are
7
entering
p.m.
any
or
wrong
6 p.m.
data,
both
it
of
should
them as I have meetings in
alert
the
us, or
evening.
it should throw us
So,
error
is there
stating
any
we
other
are wrong,
slots
right?
available?
If we have such systems only, we can maintain the data in
As
a
of now,
proper way.
it is 7
Due
p.m.
to this
Morning
reasons, this
already,
is
like
also one of
some
the
batches are running in the
drawback.
morning
This was one
sessions,
of the
but as
drawback
of
in
now,
Excel,
we will
and
be
that
only having in
drawback
the evening.
is overcome in
So
Okay,
people,
databases.
so
okay, if you want, if people who have
In
got urgency
databases
in
with
this
this
updating,
data
right, and
types
people who are
concept,
already working, they'll be
right?
updating, right?
Because
So in that,
every column,
you can
whenever we
attend
are
this, but
defining
if
here,
there is any
we will
morning batch, you
define
can
some
shift to that.
data types for
Means
that.
if I start any of my morning
Accordingly,
batch.
that data types again,
yeah, I would prefer
obviously
that
whenever we are
because
entering some
I'm
data, we know
working and
what
I'm
kind of
looking
data
for
we will
upgrade
enter,
only.
Now,
right?
as of now,
Accordingly,
I
we
have
will define the
in the
data
previously
types.
also, people
And
they'll be
according to
attending
that
in
data
this
types
meanwhile.
only, we
But
can
whenever
enter
the
the
morning
data. For
batch starts,
example,
they'll be
salary is
shifting
there.
instead of
If I
okay,
wanted,
you
we
have
know
got
we
some
will
time
enter
bound,
only
you need
numbers.
to get
So,
updated within so and so time. Otherwise, you need to wait up until that morning batch starts.
sorry.
It will be in
Accordingly, we will
December.
So,
define data
may I know
types,
like
and according to that data types
In
only,
I don't
it will
think in the
accept the
December,
values.
in
If I enter
January,
any
like first week,
character
it might
data,
be
if I
there.
enter any dates, it won't accept, right? That is the That is about data types basically.
Okay.
That is what we
Fine.
wrote.
Any other queries, right? Yes. So the timing will be okay if it
What
is
type of
7
value we
p.m.
can
only.
store
So
inside
the duration will be
that column
all the
will be
sessions will be
decided by
interactive
using
sessions, as I
data
said.
types. Okay,
Whatever I said will be
whatever data
discussed.
types we define
Everything
by
I'll
using
be
data
showing you
types
the
only,
practical parts by
it will
typing,
be
not
decided
like
what type of value we
anything
can
like
enter in that particular column.
already
Right.
pre-written
So how many
codes
data types are
bringing
there
and
for
just
us?
executing
One
those
is
kind of things
numerical
won't be
data
there.
type,
I'll be just step by
character or
step I'll
string
be
data
showing you
type,
also.
date time data type, right? Which we
Yes.
saw yesterday.
I also take Python
numerical
sessions.
data
People,
type
if
is
you
in the
want to
sense
go with
it's a
Python also,
two
if you
type,
doesn't
that is
have knowledge,
usually
you
we
can
will
just
use
means
it
by the
numerical
time
data
first
types
I'll
to
be starting
store
with
the
Azure
numbers,
Data
right?
Factory.
And again it further divided
It
into
takes nearly
int and float.
30-40
Int in the
days, right,
sense it
to
accepts only
complete this Azure
numbers,
Data
right?
Factory.
Whenever we
So by the
wanted to
time
store numbers,
people,
we
if
will
you
use
want to,
data
you
type
got,
as
we
int.
can update with
Float
Python
in the
also.
sense it
So
accepts
otherwise,
decimals
I'll
also
say before I
along with the
start with
numbers. I
Databricks,
can enter
for
decimal
2-3 days,
values
I'll
also,
just discuss
right?
about this Python
Next, character
syntaxes.
or string.
That to basic Python is required, right?
Obviously, to store character data, we will
Fine.
use
So
this
tomorrow
function,
also you can attend the
and
session. More
it is
discussion on
divided
this, right?
into again
Yes,
two types,
yes,
char
Joban,
and
right?
varchar. What is the difference
Joban and
between this?
right,
I'll tell you
for
just
all
now.
these
Okay,
things, for all this
and
package, right? It's 12,000. It is 12,000, but even
char and varchar,
separately,
right?
the
So
package.
whenever we are
See,
defining character,
there'll be
as I said, whenever we are
sports
defining any
batches will be there
character
in Azure
data type,
Data
we
Factory,
will
Azure
define size
Databricks
also,
sports will be
right?
announced,
Which
Azure
we,
Data Factory separately. The
I'll show
courses
you
also will
in
be
this
announced.
example.
Each one will be
Next,
of
date
6,000,
time data
6,000,
type in the
6,000,
sense
all this
it
sport.
will store in this. We can store
But if you're taking
dates,
everything
right?
as a
If it
package,
is
it's
only date, we
12,000,
will
right?
use
For
data type
everything,
that is
this will
date.
be for
If we wanted to
12,000.
store time also, we will
The
use
course fee is
date
for
time data
12,000
type.
if you're taking
Okay,
as a package.
so like this.
Is it a 1 hour class?
Date
7 to 8?
format will be this one,
Yeah,
year,
7 to 8, it's a
month
1 hour
and
course.
date. Date
Sometimes
time
whenever I'm
format
free,
will be
I'll
this
be
one. We
intimate,
need
right?
to
If
use
I
this
want to
format
take some
only,
extra
year, month,
sessions.
date, hour,
Oh,
minutes and seconds. Like this we need to give, right? Next, so
Okay,
as we understood
fine.
what are
So if
data
I'm done with
types,
your
now let's
quiz,
see
see, you can see in the chart, right? A big message
example
is
of
given by
table
this Durga
creation,
Soft
right?
online team.
We created
So there
employees
is a
table here,
separate team
create
working for
table
the videos.
employees.
They'll be
After
updating the
that, within the
videos on a daily
parentheses, I gave
basis.
some column names: employee
You can
ID,
see
employee name,
as a data
salary,
engineering
date of
course
joining,
content they have
right?
forwarded you.
So for
A
that,
big message there,
accordingly, we
contact
define the
details
data
they are
types.
provided,
Employee ID, I know I'll store numbers, so I
and
gave
the
int.
payment details, everything they have
Employee
provided,
name,
right?
I
Yes.
used char. I'll explain about char and varchar
Okay,
now,
fine.
just now, I mean, in a while. And I said here
So
one more point, that
if
whenever
I'm
we
done
are
with the queries,
defining
if there are no other
character
queries,
data,
I'll sign off for this. We'll meet you
Yeah,
tomorrow, same
we will
time at 7
define
o'clock
size
using the
also.
same link, right? Thank you all
That
for
is
your
what
time.
I did
yeah. We
here.
just
Thank
one query. Hello.
After writing char
Yes, go ahead.
or
Yeah,
varchar, within
will you cover any
parentheses, we need to
integration from
define the
like
size
ADF to
of
the
that
ADB?
particular
Yes,
column.
yes.
That is, here I gave 10
Okay.
as the size. That means
And that will be
if I
a
create
part of
like this, this
ADF only, or
this
it will be covered under the
indicates
ADB?
that I can enter
ADB.
only 10 characters
Okay.
in this particular employee name
Because in
column.
the ADB in the
If I
cluster
enter
in that
11
notebooks, right,
character
will be
word, or
just
that
how
is
we can
11
share it
letter
in the
word or
ADB. I'll
12
be
letter
covering.
word, more than 10 letter word, it will throw me error,
Okay.
because
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you
I
so much.
defined the
Yes.
size of this column name as 10
So for
only.
all this,
I
once again, right,
reserved only
someone was
10 bytes
asking,
of
right,
memory
is
only
it's
for
for
this
all this, it's
particular column
12,000.
name. So I
For
cannot
only if
enter
you
more
got
than
only for
this
Azure
thing,
Data
right?
Factory, it is 6,000.
Accordingly, we will define.
And for
Okay.
this Azure Databricks, if
Next,
you
for
want only
salary, I
Azure
gave
Databricks,
float.
6,000.
Date of joining, I
And
gave
this
date,
PySpark
data type,
means I'll be taking
right?
separate
Just a second,
sessions on
guys.
this PySpark, separate sessions on Databricks available, weekend batches, those things are also available. And but if you're taking as a package, it's only 12. We'll cover all this, right? Fine. Yes. So I'm signing off for now. If I'm done with the queries, any other queries from anyone?
no, sir.
A typical 3+4+ years of experience person, how much knowledge is going to gain? That much of knowledge you'll be getting it. Fine. So we'll be working with many working examples. I already showed you nearly 50 examples, exercises I'll be discussing in ADF especially. Okay.
Yeah. One last query. So within the once this timing is finalized, so it won't be changed, right? Like
It will be 7 p.m. I'm saying, right? So that's why I want to say it before you go with the payments. So as most of you comfortable with 7, right? Then I'll go with 7 only then.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So it's I'm making it clear about the timings, right? It will be 7. Okay. So I'm signing off for now. Thank you all for your time. So good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, good evening all. So myself, I'm Vijay. I hold 20 plus years of experience, which includes experience in different technologies like big data, Hadoop, Spark, Python, and this Azure data engineering, right? So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yes.
Fine. So as part of
Yes, sir.
today's
Sorry
As
guys
part
for
of today's
keeping you
demo,
on
I'll be
hold.
covering the
Let me
following things.
continue.
If you've got any queries, general
Actually, I'm not
queries, I'll be
feeling well
giving
from
time for
yesterday.
you
That
at
is
the
the
end of
reason.
the session.
So yes.
So why data engineer?
So here, as we
Why data
as we
engineer?
are using another database, let me once again
Previously, right,
create
we
this
doesn't
table.
have this
Okay,
role.
I'm
Now
just
today, if we
selecting
see
this
data
and let me
engineer has got
execute.
great demand today.
Table got
Why
created,
data engineer?
right?
Previously,
And
we used to
after
say like
creating the
ETL
table, we
developer.
can insert the data inside it, right? So
Second,
now
role.
let me refresh once
What is
again.
the role of
You can see I can able to
data
expand the
engineer?
tables like this, and I got employees table, right? If I'm selecting here,
And most of
you
them
can see
ask
the
the
column
difference
names
between
and the data types
this
also
data
here,
engineer
correct?
with data
So
analyst
all
and
the
data
column names and
scientist.
data types also can be visible whenever we are selecting table name like this. So just now we created the table, and let's insert some
Data
data
engineer,
inside it. To that is to enter some data.
data scientist,
What we will do, we will just
data
use the
analyst.
insert command, right? That is insert into employees. This is our syntax. Insert into table name.
Data
Values is a keyword which we need to use. After that, we need to use brackets, and within the brackets, we need to enter the
engineering
data,
products
right? This is my first row of data.
or services. I'm
As
just
how
going to give overview
we
about this data
define the
engineering
columns
products
in
or
that sequence
services
only,
that are
basically
used
we will
and
enter the
job
data, right?
market.
Employee ID,
The current job
employee name,
market of
salary,
Azure
and date
data
of
engineer.
joining. And after every column of the data, basically wherever you see a comma, that indicates it is a separator
Okay.
of that column. One belongs to employee ID, Raj belongs to employee name, like
First,
that.
cloud.
So once I close it the bracket, within this brackets whatever I enter, this will be my first row of data. After that, I'll use a separator comma again,
Cloud is
and
majorly
I'll enter
utilized.
second row of data. Like that, we will enter how many rows
It
we
is
want,
utilized for
right? If you observe, for
storing,
character
analyzing,
data
and
and
delivering
date
data
data
in
type data,
various
I
forms.
used single
Cloud is used
quotes.
for
Either we can
storing,
use single quotes or double quotes,
analyzing,
anything is fine. But for
and
numbers only,
delivering
we don't use quotes. For character and date, we will use quotes basically. Okay. So let me
data in
execute this
various
also.
forms.
The data got inserted, right? Now we created the table,
Okay,
we
so if you
inserted
talk
the
about
data.
this
Let's display the
on-premises
data by
compared with
using select command. Okay.
cloud, right?
Select is one command,
On-premises
use it for displaying
compared
the
with
data.
cloud.
And the
Just observe.
syntax is select star from table name.
If I talk
Star in the
about this
sense,
on-premises
technically we will call it as
databases
asterisk.
and this
That means
cloud,
whenever we want to display the complete data, we will use star like this, right? I can write it as select star. That is all I can say. Select all from employees.